Hello and welcome to video 7 out of 7 for the grade 1 bundle. You've made it! Today we're going to be looking at angle terminology. So firstly, there are 6 types of angles. Acute angles that are less than 90 degrees, right angles that are exactly 90 degrees, obtuse angles that are greater than 90 but less than 180, so anything between 91 and 179. Straight angles, which are exactly 180 degrees, reflex angles that are greater than 180 but less than a full rotation, so anything between 181 and 359, and then finally a full rotation, which is 360 degrees exactly. Now, the other things you need to know to complete this video is that parallel lines are lines that are always the same distance apart and never touch, like the 3 examples in the picture beside the definition. And perpendicular lines are lines that make right angles with each other. Hopefully you can see the little square that represents a right angle with these lines that are crossing over each other perpendicularly. Pause the video to take down any notes about definitions that you need to, and press play when you're ready to continue. In this question, you're asked to mark a pair of perpendicular lines on the diagram with a Z. Now, we learned in the previous slide that perpendicular lines are lines that make right angles with each other. So, for example, along here and down, that makes a right angle. Or down here and along, that makes a right angle. So you have 2 options here. The second question asks you to mark on the diagram a pair of parallel lines. Now, parallel lines are lines that are always the same distance apart and never touch. For example, this one here and this one underneath it here. These are parallel lines. You're then asked what type of angle is shown by the letters X and Y. Now, X is over here. This is a small angle and it's definitely less than 90 degrees. So we would call this an acute angle. And you can go back to the previous slide if you need to. Now, the angle Y is a big angle, definitely bigger than a straight line, but not quite a full term. So we would call this a reflex angle. Here's another question. Press pause and have a go, and when you're ready for the answers, press play. The first question asks you to mark a pair of parallel lines on the diagram. Now, this one here is parallel to this one here. They are the same distance apart and will never touch. The second question asks you to mark on the diagram an acute angle with the letter X. Now, this one here is an acute angle because it's definitely less than 90. But this is also an acute angle because that's less than 90. This is also an acute angle because it's less than 90. And this is an acute angle because that's less than 90. So you have several options there. You then have to mark on the diagram an obtuse angle with the letter Y. Now, obtuse means bigger than 90, but not quite as big as a straight line. So that would be this one here or this one here. Finally, Stephen claims that there is one pair of perpendicular lines in this diagram. Do you agree with him? Now, remember from our definitions, perpendicular lines are lines that cross with each other to make a right angle. Now, unfortunately, every single angle on my diagram is either less than 90, so less than a right angle, or bigger than. And then on the other side of here, I have a straight line. So this one is 180, which is still not a right angle. So do we agree with him? No. Stephen is wrong. Here's a GCSE question for you to try. Press pause and have a go, and when you're ready for the answers, press play. This question asks you to match the keyword to the diagram. So, first of all, we have a right angle. Hopefully, you identified that as diagram B. An acute angle is less than 90, so C. A reflex angle is bigger than a straight line, but not quite a full turn, so that would be A, which means that D is obtuse. Bigger than 90, but not quite a straight line yet. Here's a challenge question for you. Press pause and have a go, and when you're ready for the answers, press play. The first question asks you to mark with arrows a pair of parallel lines. So I can see that this line here and this line here are parallel. I can also say that this line and this line are parallel. So either one would be correct. It asks me to mark with the letter E a reflex angle. Remember that reflex is bigger than a straight line, and I can see straight away that this angle here is a reflex angle, so I could label that with the letter E. Finally, it asks me to mark with the letter C an acute angle. I know that this angle here is acute. I also know that this angle here is acute, and that this angle here is acute. I can also see that this angle is acute and that this angle is acute. So any of those would be acceptable. Congratulations! You have completed video 7 of 7. So you've now done the entire grade 1 bundle, and if you feel ready, which I think you are, try the grade 2 bundle.